Welcome to the first episode in my new series exploring the stunning locomotives and rolling stock of Era 2. But before we dive in, we need to clear up some exceptions. Models that look the part but don't quite fit the timeline. Era 2 covers the period from 1870 up to grouping in 1923, when the big four were made by amalgamating the many other railway companies into just four. That being the Southern, LMS, NER, and Great Western, although the Great Western was unique, as it had always been the Great Western, even in Era 2. Era 2 liveries were usually unique and intricate. So I'm starting off with the exceptionally beautiful South Eastern and Chatham P-Class named Bluebell by Hattons. A remarkable model, not just in looks but also in running abilities. However, while she looks every inch an Era 2 South Eastern and Chatham locomotive, and while she was built back in July 1910 at Ashford Works, she actually appears in a Bluebell Railway version of the South Eastern and Chatham livery and lettering, dating from 2011, so she is in fact Era 10, and therefore one of the exceptions to this series. But she's so cute I just had to share again. We'll look at two other exceptions in this video, thus clearing the way for all the Era 2 goodness from here on. Bluebell is paired up with two Hornby Bluebell coaches that were split from sets by the Bluebell Railway shop some years back. I think the set had a single black liveried terrier in them with one coach. Next up is a locomotive that almost didn't make it into this video, but I just couldn't leave her out. Here we have the beautiful, but awfully running, usually, J72 by Mainline, named Joem, in lovely northeastern livery. The model arrived with me in 1987 and is probably nearing being worn out. Perhaps she was made way back in Era 2? No, not a bit of it. This J72 was built in 1951 at Darlington. Note her number, 69023, showing she is a BR loco all round. True, the J72s were first built from 1898 as E1 class, but so successful were they that they were built in 5 more batches, and Joem here was built in the last batch, 1949 to 51. Joem had escaped the cutter's torch by being used for departmental tasks after 1958. 69023 was purchased for preservation and delivered to the Keighley and Worth Valley Railway in 1969. She can now be found on the North Yorkshire Moors Railway. She is therefore in fact Era 6, seen here with a very un-Era 2 train, despite the North Eastern coat wagon and North Eastern brake. The rest are not Era 2 at all, by virtue of being brands that were not made until the 60s or 70s. The final wagon in our J72 train is a wagon specially made to mark the 50th year of Gagemaster in Ford, West Sussex, my local shop. It seems amazing that they've been around for 50 years. I recall with fondness Dad taking me to Bognor and parking alongside the station. The street still had gas lights. to visit the engine shed, Gagemaster's first shop, located in Madeira Parade, Bognor Regis. This must have been 1980 or 81 because in 1989 the engine shed and Gagemaster moved to Ford where they are now. I'll put a link in this video's description box to their full and interesting history page. Do make time to check it out. Our final exception is in the lovely form of London Brighton and South Coast Railway Terrier, an early Hornby model from 2004, complete in Stroudley's improved engine green livery. Yes, I did say green. The livery dates from 1872 to 1880. However, while she carried it as built as number 35 Morden, built on the 1st of June 1878, this livery with the name Brighton Works was not applied until 1947, when she was taken into departmental use at Brighton. Sadly, she was scrapped in 1963. So this little beauty is in fact Era 4. Now, while we're about it, 32635 here is busy with wagons, and these are not Era 2 either, despite the colourful liveries that might trick you into thinking they were. There are some clues, and while lots of early ready-to-run wagons are something of a compromise, let's look at her train and see if we can work out the eras they actually belong to. Florence Cole, Purcell, Ketton, Rectank 21, CWW, Prosper's Bricks and James Smart & Sons, any private owner wagon with the double C marking or the yellow star will date it to at least 1926 through to the 1930s, so firmly in Era 3. The double C markings of the Railway Clearinghouse commuted charge scheme involved the owner paying 1 shilling per wagon per year to avoid a shunting charge, and a siding rent charge of 6p per wagon per day. Similarly, the yellow star of the Railway Clearinghouse commuted empty haulage scheme permitted a damaged wagon direct access to the repair facilities without hindrance by railway company paperwork. Interestingly, the speed star shown on Rectank 21 here came into being in 1913 and meant the tank could travel at speeds of up to 35 miles per hour. However, it's debatable whether such an old vehicle should do that at all. So if Rectank 21 here had just a white speed star, then it would fit in Era 2. However, it also has the CC and yellow star. That means it's Era 3. Complex, isn't it? As if to prove that, what's wrong with this elderly looking vent van? Is it Era 2 or not? Let me know in the comments. It should be said that for anyone seriously trying to depict Era 2 railway, and in particular the branch lines, that back in those early days of Era 2, wagons and locomotives stayed almost always within their zone of operation. Goods did not really travel more than 40 miles and passengers even less. However, some minimal mixing did occur, and of course World War I changed everything. As we progressed towards the end of Era 2, we reached the golden days of our railways. That wraps up part 1. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Did any of these exceptions surprise you? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for part 2 coming soon. Cheers for now.